Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have John Medina on the line, and he's founder and CEO of John Medina Buys Houses. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Adam. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, John, so excited to have you on the show today, and I just have to say this, when it comes to a title of a business, I'm like, you won the prize right there. I can't. Should I ask you, what do you do in your business? Let me guess, John, you might have something to do with buying houses. Am I off?
That's pretty funny you said that, yeah, because, that's exactly what we do. And with the name John, a lot of people just use their first name, right? And it's like, yeah. That was already taken, so I just
awesome.
decided to throw my last name in there.
So I'll start this show the way that we start all of them with our Mission Matters Minute. So John, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. John, what mission matters to you?
Well, our mission is we're solving problems for homeowners with a simple, no hassle process. We emphasize like high integrity and exceptional customer service. So that's basically what we are in a nutshell. And we have these core values that we live by as a company and even in our personal lives, right? And we just apply those core values to our customers, and it works really well.
So how did you get started on this path really into real estate? Like where did all this begin?
Well, it all began back in like 2009. So my story was I was a plumbing contractor for years, and when I was in the plumbing business, and saved a little bit of money, and I was thinking about buying some rental properties here in Los Angeles. So I just basically 2009 I took a course on a weekend and got a little information. Didn't do much with it, and then 3 years later in 2012 I decided to take another a course from a local guy here in Riverside, a guy named Bruce Norris, and then went ahead and decided, okay, I kind of know enough about this now, so I just decided I'm going to start buying some rental properties. So went down that path, bought like 4 of them, and then decided wow, this is actually something I really like doing. So in 2014 I went ahead and stopped my plumbing business and went into this business full time. So I kind of just took my plumbing business into the house buying business.
That's awesome. And so, there's some people watching this right now that are maybe not as far along as you are, and they're thinking about getting into real estate. Now some people, they dip their toe in the water. Some people, they go all in. But I feel like that getting started part in the beginning is kind of tricky. Like, what kind of advice would you give to the newbie that might stumble across this podcast episode?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. I think what I would do, it's like what I did. I just basically started just, listening to podcasts, started doing reading, anything I could do to immerse myself into the, just to learn the business so I really flipping houses. So I went in there and I just really started listening a lot. And this funny story, because I think it was my son was a baby at the time, and my wife was just like, "What are you doing all the time? What are you reading? What are you listening to?" Because I was just kind of sitting there. All of a sudden, even the first year, you don't really do much, right, as far as just being a new parent. So I just really immersed myself in that. And then I also, made sure that I signed up for some, I think like a boot camp. Usually boot camp's like 3 days, and they really immerse you inside give you a lot of information, and might even take you around in a tour bus to kind of, to show you how a business works. And in 3 days you kind of just you see how it kind of works, and it's probably just a little information to get you going. And then I joined I'm involved with numerous masterminds over the years where we get together and talk about businesses, and I have a coach, and I just earlier today I had a call. Actually, the coach is more like a mentor now, so we just have like a mentoring call called Accountability Board, and we meet once a week, and we meet 4 times a year in a location. So yeah, I just say education is the key, right? Like with everything, you just got to get in there, start, and then take action. That's the big thing. A lot of people are very educated, but they don't take action. So it's a little bit of both. You gotta, and then learn from your mistakes. That's the big one. You're gonna have to fail forward, and if you're not making any mistakes, you're not trying. That's the way I look at it. So.
Let's stick on that. I feel like everybody can talk about the success on what's new, how you do something, but I like to stick on that mistake part just a little bit longer. So if you could, go back and tell that John that was just getting, started again, and just fresh, what kind of things would you tell him? What kind of things would you, off of obviously having the benefit of hindsight now?
Maybe, so many things to think about here, because when it comes to making mistakes, I think I made them all. But the one thing that I really can kind of look back on, as far as with, because it's kind of like a sales and marketing company, what I do, and then it's then it's a construction company too. So in the sales and marketing companies, I think I went too big too fast. I didn't have all the processes and the systems in place, and I basically just went for it. I'm kind of the opposite. I kind of go big or go home. So I think I went really big at the beginning with not really knowing what I was getting involved with. And I think it hurt me as far as just wasting money on marketing that I probably, I could have maybe scaled up a little slower. But that was something that I really look back and think maybe I needed to have I probably needed a bigger team too for the amount of marketing that I was doing. So I had a lot of missed opportunities.
All the things you said, there's some people out there that not just in real estate, but in otherwise that are oh, been there, done that. And I'm one of them. I'm over here raising my hand as you're talking, just John. Yeah. I'm oh, you did that one too? Me too.
Oh, it's easy to do, right? You see dollar sign in your eyes, and you're thinking that you're just gonna send out some marketing. It's just all gonna come back to you. You don't have to follow up with people. It's just it's just interesting.
So let's go a layer deeper on John Medina Buys Houses. So give us a little bit more on that end, what types of houses, give me a little bit more geography, let's go into the nuts and bolts of the business.
Sure, that's a great question. So we are based here in Los Angeles. I'm in San Pedro, California, which is kind of down here in the port of Los Angeles. And so we buy houses, I'd say in Los Angeles and Orange County. That's kind of our target areas, right? And what's unique about us is that we buy houses directly from homeowners with this a single page contract, right? So once we agree to the terms of the house, we just buy it with a single page contract. We're not realtors. We don't make things really difficult to sell your house to us, right? We buy as is. We pay cash. We can close on a time frame that you're comfortable with. So it could be as little as maybe I bought houses in 7 days and I bought them in 2 months. It just depends on what's going on with the people's, with our customers' lives and what they need. You can take what you want with you, and then you can just leave the rest behind. So, when we say we buy as is, you pretty much can just walk out with your coat on your back if you want to, and we're good with you leaving all the rest of the stuff behind. So, what we just try to basically, just make it real simple on people, and then provide exceptional customer service to people so that we kind of walk them through the whole process, kind of hold their hand if we need to. We have a local escrow company that does all the paperwork, and we make it real easy. We send the escrow company out to the wherever the homeowner would like to meet. It could be in their house or even Starbucks if they like, and do the paperwork there, and we pay for all that. So we just try to make it real simple on people, and it seems to work pretty good.
Man, that's awesome. And so what are some reasons why? Because I know some reasons. Let me give you one. So a buddy of mine, he unfortunately, he had somebody that passed in his family, and they have this house, and now the house this isn't in California, it's actually in another state, but the house is getting broken into, and they're thinking about, like, should they sell the house, should they not? Like, and then they're thinking about, well, who's going to stop their lives, the kids or the family otherwise, and, like, start, like, they have kids, and they have 4 kids, like, they're not going to stop their life to go rehab a house, and they're not in that business. It's not an easy thing to do to get it to where it needs to be to sell for what they think is right. But then I was like, are you sure you're going to do that? And what he told me was, he says, yeah, well, he talked to his another sibling, and he's like, they had a similar situation, and they went through, did all the rehab, they did all the things themselves. It took a year and a half of their life, and they ended up with the same amount of money, give or take $1,000 or $2,000. And he's like, that doesn't count their, like, pain and, like, of the mental exhaustion, and not even hours of time. So if you count the hours of time, they lost big on that, and not even the mental part, just the hours of time. So that's my story I'm bringing to the table, and I know every story is not like that, but like there's a lot of reasons in general that somebody would want to exit a property quickly. Like, what are some of those reasons that you've seen in your career?
Yeah, and you did a great job on that, because what you
didn't pay me for that. You didn't pay me for that, by the way, but it's okay.
That's a big one. I'd say that happens. That's one of the reasons. And sometimes too, people just when I first got into this business, I always thought I was going to be dealing with situations like that. Maybe they're like some kind of distress, like someone's in foreclosure, or they need to get out of town or whatever. But what we're finding out is, and the greatest thing is, I have proof on my website with testimonials from people, and they just keep coming in. People, from doing good business with people, you get good testimonials, what we found out, right? So, I mean, there's just a bunch of different reasons, and it's just, a lot of people seem to be moving out of California right now, and they might be heading to places like Texas and just out of California. And some people just do not want to deal with letting people in their house, having to do the repairs. A lot of people really like the fact that they can leave their stuff behind and not have to worry about moving it. And if they don't, we just donate it, or sometimes we just put it in the trash. So another story, I got a testimonial last week from a guy. He just basically never sold his house before. And he just was like, man, I don't want to go through the stress of having to deal with realtors, people in my house, filling all these forms I don't understand. I just want a quick and easy sale. And they're willing to basically, sometimes they, like your story, they make just as much money selling it to us as they would with somebody else.
Because when you add the commission and stuff like that. So when you start thinking about it, then you think about commission on both sides. Then you think about this, you think about that. And when you start adding all those line items up, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What did I do all this extra stuff for? And it's like, there's just other things. So just using a straight dollar calculation, like sometimes people make when they're making those type of decisions, and not adding the other things to it. Like, there's a lot of variables there. So had to bring out that story for you. So now, in turn, you told us kind of the area. Now, what types of properties is this single family? Are these only residential? Like, give us a feel on that.
Yeah, they're single family. We buy some condos. Not too much into apartments. Not to say that I won't buy an apartment, but most of the people that call they have single family houses and condos, and that's no commercial. Just pretty much just people that have single family houses, and they just give us a call, and we just have a conversation with them. That's the greatest thing about it, is we have a conversation, and if it's a good fit for both of us, then we decide to kind of move on to the next step, which is maybe come out and take a look at it and take some pictures, and then try to come up with some kind of solution for them. So
that's great.
That's kind of how it works.
No, that's awesome. And so now, like, looking, many years forward, and obviously you've scaled the real estate business, and you now have, your funnel, everything. You're helping a lot of clients. You're doing great work for them. Marketing's working. You have all the ends of it kind of figured out, so to speak. For somebody else that's out there, so the first question I asked you was kind of beginner. They're getting started in real estate. Next question is, if somebody's out there and they're scaling a real estate business, like you're pulling it off. So, for example, I encourage everybody that's listening to this right now, like, look up John Medina on LinkedIn. I'm looking at his banner. It's straightforward. Sell your house fast for the highest price without a realtor. We'll buy houses for cash in Los Angeles and Orange County. JohnMedinaBuyHouses.com. Like, obviously, obviously, like the marketing, all this stuff, like you figured out some things. When I look at your brand, I know exactly what you're doing. I know how you're doing it. What would your advice be to some of those people out there that are actually scaling real estate businesses?
Wow, if you're scaling definitely if you're scaling your business, you definitely want to have processes in place, right? That's probably the number one thing. You want to make sure there's processes and systems, and that you're actually executing the systems. Especially too if you're doing a lot of marketing, right? You want to make sure that you're following up with people, that you're and I think if you're getting ready to scale, you're probably doing that anyways, right? So my main thing is that like the number one thing that we do is we just do good business with people. And this is all based on those core values that I was talking about. And we really stick to those core values, which is, number one is do the right thing, and then do what you say, extreme ownership, and then positive attitude and reputation through character. So by us, basically having those core values, and we're able to look at those and make sure that we're operating in those core values, and we're treating our customers, fairly, and making sure that we're providing value to them. And that's been the biggest part of like scaling is when you have those core values, it's just the whole company, your employees, and even your customers, everybody feels like they're just, going in the right direction. And it's just really just been really just huge for us just to keep scaling and keep moving forward, because it just makes it a lot easier to do this business when you have some core values to live by, and it just seems to attract people to us that want to do business with us.
Man, that's awesome. So I have to ask, so what's next, John? So what's next for you? What's next for John Medina Buys Houses? What do you have on the agenda?
Well, our goal is to do 32 deals this year, and then we're going to
get it done.
Yeah, we're almost there. I mean, we're going to hit that for sure. And then we want to go to 42 and then 52. So that's kind of like our 3-year plan, even though it's like we're getting closer to the end of the first year. So we're just basically, that's our plan, is just to keep going. I added a new team member on Monday to kind of like, get ready to go forward into the next year, so we can, have another staff member on and kind of help us with, help with some of the full buckets that we have with the people, the staff we have. So yeah, that's it. We're just pushing forward and just to keep staying like, just keep the processes going and make sure that everybody just kind of knows what they need to do inside the company, and just keep pushing forward, and that's what we're trying to do. So I feel pretty good about it.
Great. Well, John, great having you on the show today. Really been fun to get to know like your background, what you've done. To raise my hand in solidarity in terms of the mistakes we've made as entrepreneurs, going all in, doing too much. This podcast might be a support group for entrepreneurs. I don't know. I don't know what to call it exactly, but With that being said. If somebody's listening to this right now and they want to learn more or to connect with you and your team, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that?
If they want to know more about me, they can just probably go to my website, johnmedinabuysHouses.com. And if they want to reach out to me, they could just send me an email. It's john@johnmedinabuysHouses.com.
Fantastic. Well, John, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and how you're helping your clients and investors and everyone. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Definitely want you to be a return listener and return visitor. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. I said it a second time. Why? Because I want you to do it. We got many more mission-based entrepreneurs and executives coming up for you, and we don't want you to miss a thing, seriously. And John, really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.